Steve Palazzolo. I wanted to say Pro Football Focus, but that's not the case anymore. But he's still got an awesome show and podcast and kicking it with the NFL and college football in the draft. I know he'll be doing everything depending on the time of year. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. And the show is brought to you by an ice-cold Stella Artois and Greek wings at Aplos in the Renaissance and Aplos in Highland Village. It's funny, Jackson and I were both there yesterday at different times. Jackson Meadows, what did you have at Aplos in the Renaissance yesterday, my man?
Mean steak gyro.
Steak gyro.
You know, I've been on the gyro kick over there now that you put me on the chicken one.
Yeah.
And it's been gyro from there.
Good.
I got away from my pizza, man.
That's pizza, Supreme Pizza is delicious.
It's next level.
I know you were hammering the pepperoni when we had the Patron tequila party. I saw you. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. Our NFL segment brought to you by Stella Artois and Wings. We welcome in Steve Palazzolo. What's happening, big dog?
You guys can't be talking about food during my segment every week. While I'm driving to the office, can't have any of it. You can't be doing that. But great, doing well over here.
Well, that's what we do. You know what's funny, Steve, is a big part of our show is food and beverage.
Love it. Yeah, that's great.
So, because what do we do when we're watching the games? We're smashing, wings or sliders or any number of things. So that's what we have to do. Now, I tell you what's got to happen is the Dallas Cowboys have to figure out how to run the football and how to defend the run. Because the New Orleans Saints, and we have a huge Saints audience here, and I'm going to a couple of Saints games this year. But Who Dat Nation is beside themselves after hammering the Dallas Cowboys. What can my Dallas Cowboys do to get the running game going or stop the run, Steve?
Yeah, so the Saints fans should be excited. I mean, they've obviously been the most impressive team in the NFL through 2 weeks. Let's start, with Dallas in their perspective. I know I downplayed the importance of the run game a lot in our conversations through the years, but you can't have no run game, right? It's not like you can just pass the ball every single time. You do need some semblance of, I always like to say, answers to what the defense has given you. So, Dallas needs to get better running the ball. I'll start on defense, though. I mean, their defensive tackles were horrendous. I know Jordan Phillips, he's 340 pounds. He was getting moved off the ball 5-8 yards. I mean, it was bad. And that's not a new issue with the Cowboys, right? I mean, they drafted Mozzie Smith a couple of years ago in the first round with the intention that, okay, we're going to shore up our run defense, the new NFL, which is, play the run with fewer bodies. So you need better defensive tackles. You need linebackers that can, make a play in the hole. They just got overpowered and overwhelmed, and now you've got the Ravens this week that do the same thing. So, well, it's one of those where it's like, these guys are NFL players. There's probably some semblance of pride that they bounce back with this week, even if they on paper look overwhelmed. But the run defense is an issue for Dallas. And again, it feels like a multi-year issue where there are certain games where they're just completely overwhelmed at the point of attack. I think they've got great pass rushers. I mean, here's the bottom line with Dallas. I think they're a front-running type of team. They get a lead. They lean on you. They rush the passer at a high rate. They force turnovers. And, those games where they're up a score and before you know it, you've got like Sam Howell throwing a pick six or whatever it is. And before you know it, it's like a 3-score game. They have to find ways to win, in a phone booth. They have to win the fist fights. They have to win those games.
They're not built like that, Steve. They're not.
I know. I don't have great answers for you. So I do think offensive line-wise, they have the ability to do it, but you still need a little bit more juice from the running back position, certainly when Zeke is back there. So I am at the point where I'm willing to say, hey, Dallas does need to run the ball better, and they certainly need to do a better job up front against the run.
Okay, NFL insider Steve Palazzolo on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. How would you describe their skill people outside of CeeDee Lamb with Ferguson out?
I still like Brandon Cooks. I think he's okay, but getting older and regressing a little bit, and the other guys Tolbert's made some nice plays, but Dak's first interception, I thought Tom Brady did a little bit better job in the booth on Sunday, where he at least described the action, more than he did in week one. And on that play, he said, look, this is the receiver. It's the receiver's fault. He's coming out of the break. He falls over. Dak throws it on time, probably helmet high, and it gets picked off. Dallas, it does feel like their offseason question marks came back to bite on Sunday at least, right? Where it's the receiver question marks. They always have question marks at defensive tackle. If they can hold up, they're stitching it together with some veterans. So, yeah, I think the playmakers, leave a lot to be desired. I think it's the worst group since they traded for Amari Cooper, we'll say.
Good grief. All right. And the Ravens back against the wall. Phenomenal franchise. Well run. Harbaugh's a freak. And Lamar may run all over them along with the dudes behind him. This could just be an absolute recipe for disaster. And the Baltimore's favored, which does not surprise me whatsoever. Steve Palazzolo, NFL insider, on the Out of Bounds show, brought to you by the Greek Wings and Ice Cold Stella Artois at Aplos and the Renaissance and Aplos in Highland Village. So the Saints, they're sky high. They smoked the Cowboys. They're running the football downhill, doing everything they're supposed to do. Clint Kubiak. All right, so this is what you were describing earlier, Steve. That whole Shanahan Kubiak deal out of Denver, the dads, now the sons. Dallas has no answer when San Francisco wants to pin their ears back on them and play bully ball on them, and now Clint Kubiak has done it. So that the Ravens will try to do it. Talk about Kubiak's impact for the Saints and what he's doing on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, this might be the offseason move that I underrated the most was another Kyle and Mike Shanahan disciple moving on, taking over as offensive coordinator and turning around an offense. It happened with former PFFer, my friend Bob. It's Mike McDaniel in Miami. For whatever issues they have, they still completely turned that offense around, and it's happening with the Saints. I saw Chris Sims describe it as a nice mix of old school and new school. I think that's a good description because they are dominating at the point of attack. I thought the Saints offensive line was one of the bigger position group question marks in the entire NFL coming into the year, and now they're the biggest surprise and one of the biggest strengths for a position group through 2 weeks, with a rookie at left tackle, with Trevor Penning playing well for the first time probably in his career, with Cesar Ruiz at right guard maybe playing well for the first time in his career. Just dominant up front. They've got the two-back, old-school outside zone scheme. Alvin Kamara looks rejuvenated, but they're also using play action over 50% of the time. I know they've been way up in games. That helps that percentage, but they're using those cheat codes extremely well, which is play action, which is motion, which is a combination of play action and motion. They're getting the ball to those playmakers outside. I think when I was on radio last year with you guys, every week I would be like, why aren't the Saints more explosive on offense? Why is the red zone offense so inconsistent? Why is it week to week with the Saints? They feel like they should be better, but they were very inconsistent week to week. Well, now it was almost like I feel like a year late, because I've loved Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave and Derek Carr's ability to get the ball down the field. And now they're doing it, and they're doing it at a much higher rate than I even expected coming into the year. So it's been really impressive. Good scheme. Straight toughness up front. Derek Carr's playing out of his mind, getting the ball down the field.
He
and
is.
The Saints are using their playmakers extremely well.
And that defense, man. That's Dennis Allen's forte, obviously. And they're a little old with Demario Davis and Cam, but it's like they've got enough pieces. They're still physical. They're still fast. I know it's early, but like how much are you buying Saints stock right now? Because this 4-game stretch is going to be, they got Philly, they got the Chiefs, they got Tampa coming up, and someone else that's really tough. So they're about to go through a hella 4-game stretch, Steve P.
Yeah, so I still have questions about, if you remember a few years ago, the Saints defensive front, they had Cam Jordan, more in his prime. They had Marcus Davenport. They had Trey Hendrickson before he went to the Bengals. They were deeper on the defensive line a few years ago. They've been good through 2 weeks, but I still have concerns about their ability to just week after week, rush the passer. Demario Davis is like a modern marvel right now. I mean, he's playing the best football of his career in his mid-30s, early to mid-30s over these last few years. He is outstanding.
Golly,
still playing as one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And the Saints they've got good corners outside, right? The physicality that you mentioned and everything. So to me, it's like a back-to-front type of defense. I trust their back seven to just make life difficult for opposing quarterbacks. I think Dennis Allen defenses have done that a lot through the years. Just challenge passes, make the windows a little bit tighter. I have some concerns about the pass rush up front. And then from a Derek Carr standpoint, it's, we're 10 years into his career. Is he going to keep this up, right? I mean, this is higher than the Derek Carr baseline of play. Is he going to hit a 70-yarder pinpoint every single week to Rashid Shaheed? I don't think so. Like, at some point, he's just going to overthrow one of those passes. So I expect a little bit of regression from Derek Carr, maybe the defensive line from the Saints. But again, I'm not trying to take anything away from them. It's been so impressive what they've done, both sides of the ball, and, the biggest surprise team in the NFL at this point.
Yeah, I love it. Our people around here are excited, and I'm going to go down and catch a couple of games. I hope they're still good when I go down. But Eagles, Falcons, Chiefs, and Tampa, woo, that's a challenging four-game stretch. Now, they're playing with a little bit of house money with their win on the road against the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys are that good. And I think when they take out that 340-pound D tackle, I think they look really light at D tackle with those two dudes that they were playing on Sunday. I do think they're top heavy, with Micah, and so on. But where are you with them in the power rankings now that you know that they couldn't run the ball against Cleveland, although different front, and they couldn't run the ball or stop the run against the Saints? Have you knocked them down a peg or two in your NFC power rankings?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's not as simple as, well, the Saints beat them, they must be better, they must be higher if you're power ranking. I still want to see a little bit more from the Saints, but yeah, I think you have to knock Dallas down a little bit, because those were it's just the weird analysis of what a front runner is, right? How do you look at Dallas and say, this is the year they're going to beat the best teams? This is the year they're going to beat the Niners. This is the year they'll beat Philly in Philly. This is the year they're going to make a playoff run against the best teams in the NFL. I don't know that there's anything this year versus the last couple of years. It did feel like the offseason was a lateral move at best, where most teams come in with more optimism, and Dallas is like, hey, we got to put two rookies onto the offensive line. We've got, a lesser receiver situation than we have over the last couple of years. We haven't really shored that up. So, yeah, I mean, I think you have to knock them down a peg. It just puts more pressure on your boy Dak, more pressure on him to perform week after week. And he'll have those games, man. Like, they'll win. They might win a game against a good team or two if he balls out. But it does feel like the margin for error is a lot smaller than it was even just in recent years.
I thought he played well for a while. And you're right, that first pick was not his fault. I just didn't think they had the football. I mean, the Saints were just chewing up the clock and, like you said, playing bully ball and doing what they wanted. All right, let's talk about the Bengals. Steve Palazzolo, his new show is Check the Mic. It's on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. NFL Podcast of the Year last year. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. I think the Bengals are still a damn good football team. They host the Commanders. They're 7.5-point favorites this weekend. Do you think the Bengals are still a good football team?
Yeah, I think they are. I'll be going to the game Monday
nice.
Night with the Commanders coming in. Yeah, I can't go to Sunday games, so only those primetime games can we at least get to the stadium. So yeah, I think I mean, it's a heartbreaker for Cincinnati. They start slow during the season, but I'll tell you this: Zach Taylor makes adjustments since he's taken over as head coach for the Bengals. Whether it was, hey, we're running too much out of shotgun, let's go back under center, or we're not getting the ball to Jamar Chase, let's move him around. Every time, and that's what makes it difficult with analysis. We like to immediately respond to what we see and say, oh, that's how it's going to be because I just saw it. But then good coaches adjust. And so we saw that last week. We saw the tight ends get involved a lot more. They did throw the ball down the field more after week one was just painful to watch. Joe Burrow barely throwing the ball beyond 10 yards, and when he did, it wasn't effective. So I think the Bengals have all those ingredients. Joe Burrow, I think, is still very, very good. When he's healthy, he can make those downfield throws. I mean, he's dropping his eyes a little bit too much right now for my liking, but he's got all the pieces to get back on track. And when he's good, they're rolling. They've got some issues up front as far as their depth goes, but they played hard. I mean, they've only given up 275 passing yards through 2 weeks.
Wow.
They're 0-2. And they faced the Chiefs in one of those games. So I think they have that tough pass defense. They shore things up front a little bit more against the run. I think they have the ability to be a really good team. It's so odd that they continue to start the season 0-2, that they feel so unprepared for week one relative to their previous baseline. I don't know what that piece is, but I do know Zach Taylor has always gotten them back on track and made them look like one of the best teams in the NFL, at least at some point during the season. So I expect that from Cincinnati.
That's a good point. He's a hell of a coach, but they don't get out of the gate the right way. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Steve, can't figure that one out. And yet I feel like they'll be playing in January. How long, I don't know, but I feel like they will be. All right. Steve Palazzolo, Check the Mic. That's his new show. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We'll be live from Pearl River Resort and the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge tomorrow. Steve, Kyler Murray was a highlight reel last week, but the lines are going to the Cardinals. Funky loss on Detroit. I actually think the Lions win this weekend. Who do you like and why?
Well, yeah, I don't love the Cardinals overall. Like, I don't love their defense. But I did this last year. They kept surprising me. I mean, I like them a lot more if Kyler plays the way he did Sunday. That was unbelievable. I mean, that was one of the better play-for-play quarterback performances that you'll see. Unbelievable pinpoint throws down the field. He did it inside the pocket, outside the pocket. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. going. Trey McBride is a monster at tight end. So I love a lot of the pieces that the Cardinals have. I like their offense better than their defense, but I think Detroit should be able to dominate up front. Detroit's offensive line has been leakier than I expected this year so far in pass protection. Jared Goff has been careless with the football relative to his baseline. They should get better on the offensive side of the ball, and they should have the advantage against Arizona. But I give Jonathan Gannon a ton of credit for the way he has them playing. He had them playing tough when they were massive underdogs all last season, and now they're not massive underdogs. They're much better than they were. I just worry about their ability, Arizona, to rush the passer consistently, to stop the run consistently. So I'm with you. I mean, I think Detroit, it was a tough loss against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay played hard, but the Lions are still, they have all the pieces again on both sides of the ball. Aiden Hutchinson's been unblockable. So I think the Lions come back and make a statement this week against Arizona.
Yeah, Dan Campbell's my guy. What a dude.
But I'm just like, I'm an Arizona hater every week. And
God, you are.
Look bad. I can't do that. Tyler was unbelievable. He was so good, man.
Damn. All right, one more before we let you go. I think the Chiefs lose this weekend in Atlanta. What do you think, Steve P?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, Atlanta made that, what a ridiculous comeback that was Monday night. But the Falcons needed that. I mean, I think it'll be more competitive. Like, if the Eagles just ran the ball out and the Falcons lost, we're asking ourselves, man, what's wrong with Kirk Cousins?
True.
Is he done? When's Michael Penix going to be taken over? Is my buddy Zach Robinson, the play caller, over his head? I mean, we'd be asking all these questions. And they make this comeback. And now all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins might have the confidence to be able to pull an upset against the Chiefs. I like the Falcons coming into the year. I think you see Bijan Robinson run the ball. They've got playmakers. If Kirk is healthy and his arm looks weak, the velocity on the ball is not there. But if he can get the ball outside the numbers enough, they should move the ball. I worry about Atlanta's pass rush, especially against the Chiefs. I think Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to try to get the ball down the field a little bit more. They'll have a chance to make some big plays in the dome. So I think it'll be a great game. I'm not expecting Atlanta to pull the upset, though.
Okay. One more real quick. 49ers, Rams. I think -7. For the 49ers laying 7, even though the Rams are 0-2, I think that's too many, Steve, because I think the Rams they may not be great, but I think they're pretty damn good and talented.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Rams. They're just so beat up right now. And this is also one of those matchup things where Shanahan always gets the better of McVay, other than the one NFC Championship game. I mean, it's like 10-4 all time when they have their regular quarterbacks, and then 10-3 to take out the playoff game. So we get to see Brock Purdy without some weapons, right? Without McCaffrey again, but also now without Debo. We haven't had great success watching, with Purdy and the Niners, but I just think the Rams are too beat up. 7 might be too much. You're right. They'll play some tight games. I don't mind the Rams as underdogs to cover, but I think the Niners move to 2-1 in this one.
Okay, cool. Hey, enjoy going to the that's awesome, man. Enjoy going to the Bengals Commanders game in Cincy, and make sure to load up on some Skyline chili this weekend.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna probably go for lunch and dinner.
Take out.
Could probably double up. Yeah.
So funny. All right, dude. Thank you, buddy.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
His show is Check the Mic. It's unbelievable football NFL show. Check the Mic. Steve Palazzolo. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And that NFL hit was brought to you by the amazing Greek Wings at Aplos in the Renaissance in Highland Village. Stella, ice cold Stella, and Greek Wings. Eat them there, or get like 3 orders to go for you and your buddy in the neighborhood. And you can watch the Patriots and Jets tonight. Aaron Rodgers, Jackson Meadows' favorite player. So I'm expecting Meadows to walk in with an Aaron Rodgers jersey in the next week.
Ridiculous.
It may be with the Packers. It may be Jets, whatever he wants to do. Maybe Cal Bears. But either way, I'm good. Did we figure out our queso question? Who has the best, highest quality queso in the Jackson Metro? Boom.
Is it going to be Sombra? I don't think so. That's our latest entrant. I'm not. And it's straight.
Who else? There are some places that do queso that aren't Mexican restaurants.
Right.
I'm just not coming, and it may be one of our partners. I'm sitting here going through Burgers Blues Barbecue. I'm going through Martin's in Livingston. I'm going Aplos. I don't think has queso. Highball Lanes may have queso. I need to look at their menu. Man, that restaurant in Highball is fabulous. The bar is super cool.
One of our people has queso.
Somebody does. I'm just missing it. And don't forget about the Station, which is their new restaurant and bar with the green space behind it. It's all part of the same ownership group. Highball Lanes is the coolest place to bowl. Ritz-Carlton-like, very groovy and cool. Decor's awesome. The bar and restaurant in Highball is great. But the Station, slinging pizzas and all kinds of fun stuff. They've got that huge screen in the back in green space. And that's the Station in Fondren. And that's Highball Lanes in Fondren. And the Capri. They call it the Block in Fondren. Great place to eat and have a beverage and bowl and have fun.